Today, we have 5 tips to help you increase your participation at events and youth group, no matter what size youth ministry you have. Welcome to the Ministry Coach Podcast. If this is the first time we're meeting, my name is Jeff Lascola, and this is
Kristen Lascola.
Today we're going to talk all about how to get your students to participate in youth group, and this works for youth groups of any size, correct?
Correct. Any size. These are a one-size-fits-all tips. So 5 tips to be exact. Number 1, how to increase your participation. Make sure you're planning the events at the right time.
What does that mean?
That means
no early mornings. No Christmas.
Okay, that reminds me. Sorry, quick story. We were getting ready to leave for summer camp once.
Oh, God, this is awesome.
And I was sending my leaders, adults, out the time that we were meeting. And I said, no, it was for winter camp. So it was a Friday because the kids get out of school. You know, we get back on a Sunday afternoon. I said, be at the church at 4:00. I didn't say AM or PM because I was like, clearly Friday after school, 4 p.m., right? So this leader, he calls me.
Bless his heart.
Bless his sweet little heart. He said, hey, Kristen, I'm just calling to check in. I just want to make sure. I didn't know if you meant 4 a.m. or 4 p.m. to meet for winter camp on Friday. I was like, PM. Yeah, PM. So that's not the kind of time I'm talking about necessarily. So here's what I've noticed: some youth pastors will run into some dilemmas because they'll be super sad that their events or youth group itself is low participation. But for this tip, I'm talking mostly about events. And so make sure you don't plan an event like during graduation week, during homecoming week.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, that's just big and cannot be moved, and things that people are going to, like back to school night and things. And especially if you're in a smaller town where it's like there's one school and we're all going to the dance.
Right.
You know, I've run
school dances are
sneak
big
up
ones.
on me. I know. And there's been like Friday night events that I've had, and people are like, oh shoot, well, the dance ends at 9 and then I'll come after. And I'm like, dang it. So make sure you're coordinating with the school schedules. The school calendars can usually be found online, but I have paid that dumb tax more than I should because you would think I would learn to check with the school calendar, but I don't. And families are committed to going to the game, to going to the dance, whatever. So if you're trying to increase your participation, make sure you just don't do an event during that time. Now, when it comes to just a regular youth group, I have found the sweet spot is 6:30 to 8:30 for us. So if you're high school, I think you could do 7 to 9 because of sports practices, and high schoolers can stay up a little later. But 7 to 9 for a middle schooler, especially if you have 6th through 8th grade, is a little bit late on a school night to go 7 to 9. So I used to be 7 to 9, and then COVID hit, and our campus pastor suggested going 6:30 to 8:30, and it just works better for everybody. So if the kids have football or baseball or whatever, they'll come in their uniform, they'll come late, they come usually right in the middle of worship. So they still hit about half the program, and they'd rather have half than none, which I'm really proud of them for that. But if you're trying to gather participation on a school night, 6:30 to 8:30, in my opinion, is the sweet spot. And then the athletes fall where they may. You know, even when I was 7 to 9, I couldn't get all the athletes. So it kind of is what it is there. So then kind of in the same vein, when it comes to like the timing of events, you never want to be promoting more than one big event at a time. So when people get too inundated with like, we're doing this and then do this and don't forget your $20 for that. And then it's like stimulation overload. So, I mean, I'm promoting camp right now because I promote camp for almost 3 months, you know? And so they can sign up. And so I show the promo video every week, but I'm not really counting that as my one event to promote. So I usually do one event per month, and then I put all my promotion effort toward that. So if you have a singular focus, I think your participation goes up because people can get hyped on one thing and they're not stretched so thin. And I have to remind myself too, oh, you have lives outside of youth group, right? So you have like, because this is where I live, but you know, they're involved in other things. And so if you can just give them one really good thing a month to be involved in, again, that's for an event, not youth group. Hopefully youth groups happening every single week, but you know, they're going to get a little too confused. And just know you're never going to get everybody at everything all the time, but you do want to get a large percentage of your youth group to come to your events. And you want a large percentage of your population to come to your youth group. So I think it just depends on the church and the youth group, but my numbers are higher on a midweek program than they are on a weekend. Not by a ton. I would say it's like about it feels like it because it's 3 services. And so it's like split into thirds, whereas Tuesday night is just one big, huge group. But even so, it probably is like a 30-40% jump. So, okay, number 2, communicate your events well. So kind of along the thing of like you're promoting one thing at a time. If you want to get participation with your events, then make sure you're communicating. Like, here's the way I like to do it. I'm going to communicate everything for the next 3 months through calendar. And that calendar can be found online all the time. If you don't have a website, you should get one. If you don't feel like you have the strength right now, then at least print out a calendar and be able to pass it out. And that will have the next 3 months on it. So people can see kind of like that 30,000 foot of like, okay, here's what you have going on and what they can expect. You don't have to start promoting things like so specifically quite yet. Just get the calendar in their hands. When the event is about 3 weeks out, that's when I start making a really big push for it, especially with middle school. It's like, if it's any further out than that, I think it just loses its momentum. So you need the 3-week push. If it's a really big event that's going to require like signups and transportation and all of that, I mean, you could go 4 or 5 weeks for something like an all-nighter if you have to rent a bus and you need a head count for the venue or whatever it might be. So you can do like if it's big like that, but for like your typical event, I would say 3 weeks, nail it every single time that you guys meet. Make sure your method of communication is getting through to them too. So you want to hit the parents and the students. And number 3, like communication is one thing, but like think of it as promoting your event. So you're telling them about it. They have the calendar, they have the website, you know, you're making the announcements, but now that's kind of blurring this line into promotion. Like think of yourself as an event promoter. This is kind of along the lines of marketing. So what I like to do, even if it's simple, is have a flyer or a logo or something very recognizable to kind of brand that event. So for example, I still do Double Dog Dare-a-thon. And for the longest time, it was this logo. I think it's just the logo for that event because it's not my event. It's like a thing. And it was like this purple and orange wiener dog that was like really long and like it had 2 heads, like one on either side. And so it was like very recognizable. It's like, here's the Double Dog Dare-a-thon logo. And then you put it on your Instagram, you put it on the flyers, you put it on the calendar on that date. You put it in a video if you have a video promo. We're going to talk about that in a second, but just make something streamlined that you like it's almost like that, like Pavlov's dog thing. As soon as you see that, you know the event.
And then your mouth starts watering.
Because you're so excited to eat a sandwich made by somebody's feet, which was one of our challenges. It was disgusting. So something just very recognizable and low text. So you want to just like make your promotion materials as simple as possible. The where, when, what time, what to bring, like very simple stuff so that they can follow. I used to make things just a little too text heavy and I felt like people were kind of getting lost because you'd have to actually like sit there and read it. But like they should be able to just see it, boom, boom, boom. April 17th, 7 to 10 p.m., bring your friends. Like, you know, and then you could have some more fine print on the back, but making your promotion very accessible. So here's a pro tip for that. Film all your events so that you have footage to add to a promo video when that event comes around again. And then you can just sort of have stock promo videos and you can refresh it every couple of years. But here's what I've learned, and this is a weird human nature thing. Something about reliving things in video or pictures, but with music,
right,
with good cuts.
Seems way more fun.
Yes. And you remember it more fun than it actually was.
Right.
And reliving it becomes the experience. And so almost people feel like, I want to go to that event because I want to be in that video and I want to have that experience that the video people had.
Right.
Like it's this weird subconscious type of motivation, I guess you could say. And I've even heard this girl, she is an intern in our high school ministry right now. And she said, I used to go to the youth group events just so I could be in the photos. And I'm like, oh my gosh, if that's her, I'm sure that's a ton of kids,
right,
you know, because it
kind of narcissistic, but
well, so is like the whole world right now. Actually, can I talk? No, actually, but it's like this thing, like to see it almost become larger than life. Of like it's on
the highlights.
Yeah,
like you've taken out all of the
waiting
around,
exactly, and, you know, the bus broke down,
right,
and like,
and you've condensed,
the food was gross.
If it's a week of camp, it's condensed into 2 minutes.
Yeah, this
is the best 2 minutes. So yeah, it's going to be, you know, so much fun to watch and relive and those things. If you did a low light video, that would be hilarious. This is a 6-hour video of you guys waiting in line, the bathroom's not working,
right?
You know, that would be something different.
Yeah, I feel like, wouldn't that be funny if we did like an Instagram challenge of like post like all the worst parts of your day? Like you spilled coffee on yourself, you got an F on your test, you know, like nobody sat next to you at lunch.
It would be both entertaining and depressing.
Well, I think Be Real tried to do that, but I'm like, yeah, right. The second someone's Be Real, they're like, oh my gosh, you guys, come here, come
do
here.
something
like,
fun.
It's like, that's not what you were doing. And I wasn't standing there. I was standing over there. I was nowhere near you. And now I'm in your Be Real, and it wasn't real. So anyways, but yeah, it takes on this life of its own, like to see it on the youth group Instagram, and now these pictures are used in promotion and people look back at that with such like fond memories, you know? So really do not underestimate the power of photos. So, and if you're trying to increase participation with just like your regularly scheduled youth program, post like crazy that night. We have a high school girl who comes to our junior high program, and that's her one job. She walks around with the phone the whole entire time, and she gets footage of every single thing we do.
High school girl walking around with the phone the whole entire time.
She blends right in. Blends right in. And she
was made for that.
Makes these reels that we post literally like the second youth group is over, or even during it, but she makes a pretty cool reel that like encompasses the whole night.
Yeah.
So like a really cool clip of worship, a really fun action shot of the game, a clip of the message, like
now, what's
people
the point
hanging
of
out.
Posting it during youth group for those who didn't come, just to rub it in.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. Yeah.
Suckers.
So, okay, what I have written on my notes is not to rub it in, but it create FOMO. Like really, I mean, when I'm having an event, so like say we have the Glover Nighter, I'm posting things rapid fire, right? One picture after another. Now we're playing glow in the dark this. Now we're dancing. Now we're eating pizza. Now we're doing this, and get those best shots and post them, because yeah, you are creating a sense of FOMO of like, oh my gosh, that was tonight. Shoot, you know? And then people want to make sure they're at the next one, because it, like, for all the reasons we just said, it looks a lot more fun in pictures. And now that we're selling them something that's not happening, we are having fun.
Right.
But like you said, like, it's just when you,
the best of.
When you experience it in that way, it's very motivating. It's like a commercial, obviously. So
is there any backlash then? I'm going back. I'm fixated on this posting during the event. Is there any backlash on kids on their phones who are at the event? Like, hey, look, this was just posted. Does that ever happen? Or
why would they care?
I don't, because kids are always on their phones. Are you giving them an extra reason to be on their phones?
If they're posting my event, I don't care.
No. I mean, like watching the videos. I mean, I guess it won't matter, but
no. And like, here's the thing. I think youth pastors, maybe we could do a whole episode on this, but the phone thing, like, unless it's during the message, unless it's during worship, unless it's during like a time, I don't really care if they pull their phone out here or there. They'll like capture a cool, like I saw this girl taking these really cool pictures of the girls singing for worship on Tuesday. And I thought it was awesome. I'm like, she saw something she loved and she wanted to capture it. I'm not going to collect your phones. I'm not, it's just like, feels like if you're wanting to take pictures of stuff happening because it's meaning that much to you, you go for it. Now, if you're just sitting in a corner watching TikTok with your friends instead of participating, I'm going to tell you to put it away. But yeah, I think there's like a time where I would say no phones. And that's always during the message. Put your phone away. During worship, put your phone away. But if they're just hanging out and they take stuff out and film or take pictures of their friends or I don't know. That makes sense. Yeah. I'm not a stickler for that kind of stuff because I've seen kids use it in really good ways too. I think we're always afraid of the bad ways they're using it. But I mean, I've seen them do really cool things with it too. So here we go. Number 4, this is participation in terms of an event. Make it super easy to sign up. Make it accessible. Make the information accessible, whether you're using online signups, permission slips, whatever. Anytime we're doing anything, you have to ask yourself, is this super easy to find? Do people know? Like even just youth group night. If someone wanted to find out what time and where, could they find that somewhere? I think sometimes churches' websites are not user-friendly and not information-friendly. Yeah. Like I've been on some and it's like, I'm trying desperately just to find out who the youth pastor is. And if I want to email or call them, and it's not there. Or these sometimes like I see youth groups that have Instagram pages with no location information. All it says is like Twin Peaks Youth Group or something. It's like, wow, cool. And they have this awesome logo and all these fun pictures of their kids playing games and whatever. And I look at the bio, there's no information. It just says middle school ministry of Highlands Church. There's probably 800 Highlands churches in the United States, So could I send my kid there? I don't know. But if I see that it's like, oh, Highlands Church in Carlsbad, California. Oh my gosh, that's right by us. Like we could go check that out. So you have to make sure, do people always have the where, what time, and a very easy to see location? A lot of times what I'll do is I'll even put the link to sign up for an event in the bio on my Instagram. So by me, I mean Caleb, because he's really good at it. But like our Whitewater signups right now, it's in the link in our bio. And so it's like, when in doubt, there you go. Because you could go to the North Coast Church website and you could try to find it and you would, but if you want it easily, there it is. I still email it to the parents every single week. Copy, paste. Here you go. You had it last week. You have it again. Because I want you to not have to go, oh, she sent it, like search emails from Kristen, nope, it's there. So if you want participation, you have the onus of making it very easy to participate. Don't make people guess where you are. If you change locations for a night for some reason, you better post it on the door. You better give weeks in advance to let everybody know where you're going. And I think it's a very rare instance that you should move locations on your regularly scheduled midweek program because you just slam the door on a lot of visitors that, maybe could have come. So once in a while, it's fine. But so information, ease of finding, and very clear. Yeah. And make sure when you have those websites that you are updating them. I've been to not just churches, but just certain things that have like, events, and you click on it. It's like, this is 2015. I know. Oh my gosh. How have you not updated this? Yeah. It's like, take it down altogether if you're not going to update it. But if you have it as a source of information, like be on top of that and make sure the information is correct and accurate and up to date. Well, because as a parent, if I have to do too much digging, I'm throwing up my hands. Yeah. I'm like, I can't. my bandwidth is done. I can't go searching for this magical permission slip that I can't find. Like, too bad.
And that's when you're getting all the texts and calls and all that last minute. When's this event? Where do we meet? Blah, blah, blah.
Yep. So. And don't change things up. Like, if you meet on Tuesday nights from 6:30 to 8:30, meet on Tuesday nights from 6:30 to 8:30. Like, don't keep people guessing, oh, well, the first Thursday of every month we do this and blah. It's just like, nope. Keep it consistent. That's where, just my personal opinion, I'm no scientist, but I believe that's where momentum comes from, is consistency. Is that people, it's predictable. You know what I mean? Like, I equate it to, I'll be in love with a certain restaurant, right? Because there's my favorite dish there. And I'm like, oh, and then they leave me craving it. I'm like, oh, I can't wait till I get to eat again. Then I have it one time and it's slightly off, where I'm like, tasted a little different. I wonder if someone different made it. It was a little too this, a little too that. And you know what it does? The spell is kind of broken. And I'm like, I'm kind of over it. I'll try something else now. And so just that, I think consistency builds momentum of, like, we know, not that you have to do the same exact thing every program night. That's not what I mean by consistency, but that people aren't guessing about your whereabouts and about your time change. And unless you were on the inside, you wouldn't know that we are actually like getting in cars and going to the beach, and you didn't bring your stuff because you had no clue what was going on. So keep it consistent or communicate thoroughly. Okay. And then number 5, have your leaders create a buzz. It's like last week we talked so much about like using students and reaching new students, but leaders, I think, really carry a lot of the momentum too for your events and for youth group night. If leaders are there consistently, and you've really got to create that culture that the students show up and their favorite leader is going to be there for the most part. And that when you have an event, leaders attend and they're the ones who bring the energy and bring the excitement and they create a buzz. And so even coach your leaders on talking to your students about the youth group and about events. Like, oh my gosh, are you going to the Glover Nighter this Friday? What? No, we got to get you signed up. I have leaders who do that all the time, and they'll be like, Kristen, they need a permission slip. We're getting them signed up right now. And they're sort of like the salespeople on the floor in a way of getting these kids excited. It's like, I'm going to be there. You've got to be there, and building it up, especially for a kid that maybe doesn't have a lot of friends. And that could be a reason why they're nervous to go. But if they know there's an adult that's going to be there, that's excited to see them, then that could provide a little bit of mental safety, you know, for them to be like, okay, well, maybe they'll introduce me to someone, or at least I know John and he'll, you know, be my bud or something like that. So really leverage your leaders. And sometimes I'll even put it on our talk sheet, like for their small group discussion sheet, it'll say like, hey, hype up Glover Nighter. It's happening this Friday. So that in their small groups, they're like, raise your hand if you're going to Glover Nighter. Oh, come on, you got to go. Oh, shoot, you know, you have a game, but come on after, you know, and they can be the hype guys to get like some more buzz and momentum going. Yeah. Because if they're like, just like anything, whether it's a game or worship, or if the leaders are psyched, then the kids will be psyched, and it creates just this energy around it, which is pretty cool.
And also remember to remind your leaders to circle back then when the event happens, to then like reiterate like, oh my gosh, you made it. I'm so glad you're here. Because I've experienced, I think this happened to me in college, where there was a leader who kept like, you've got to come. And I almost felt like guilty not coming. So I was like, I wasn't planning on it. Didn't really have my name on it, but like, oh gosh, I should go. Yeah. And then I went and didn't get acknowledged at all for being there. Boo. And I'm like, I could have 100% of not have come.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up.
And never, you know, and it wouldn't have changed anything. Right. But because I felt like, God, you've been hassling me so much, like, okay, I guess I'll go. And then to just kind of like ignore the fact that I did, it was like, okay, well, I'll remember that next time then.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And like, because then it just seems so fake, you know, of like, oh, go. And then it's just like, I don't care if you're here or not. You know, it's like, wait a minute.
I got your money. I don't care.
Well, they don't pay to come to youth group. But yeah, I
had to pay to go to just kidding.
He said, give me $100.
And he wasn't even there. I don't know who that was.
He doesn't work here. He hasn't worked here in 40 years.
Whoa!
Okay, so here's some final tips. At the end of the day, here are the things that people, how to get people there, those 5 tips, but ask yourself this. Is it something they want to do? Is this fun? Is this worth going to? Especially for a high schooler, you really got to make it worth it because they drive, so they have options. So is this like a keeper? Is this event awesome? Or is your youth group, is it good enough to where it's the highlight of a kid's week where they just can't miss it, right? So is it easy to find info? We talked about that. That's number 2. Assess your information. How easy is it to find? Can people find your location, time, and event information? And then thirdly, you can't totally control this, but this is on their mind. Are my friends going? So that'll be a make or break. And I think a lot of youth pastors get discouraged when kids don't participate because their friends won't be there. And they're like, make new friends. It's like, I would love youth pastors to take their own advice. Right. Like, no, you're not going to go make new friends. If your friends aren't going to a men's retreat, you're not going. You're not like,
or a women's retreat.
Who could I meet here? Hello, neighbor. Like, I just feel like I hate when youth pastors, I get frustrated when they put these weird expectations on kids that you would not do yourself. Yeah. Like maybe you'd say hello to a couple new people, but yeah, you're going to bunk with 8 strangers. I doubt it.
Some people would do it.
Put it in the comments if you're going to.
Pish posh.
Gonna bunk with 8 strangers and
I did that one time. It was horrible.
You did not.
It was a different college group, but I went and did not know a soul, and it was super awkward,
painful.
And I regretted going for multiple reasons.
Yeah, you regretted because that guy stole your money.
No, different time. I got my money stolen.
But yeah, like I would never sign up for a retreat just like, here I go, like have no idea who I'm gonna bunk with and be with, and it's like, you're here to make new friends. I'll make new friends with my other friends. I'm not just gonna fly solo. Anyways, are you ready for your Fabulous 4 trivia questions?
Yeah, but before we get to that, I just want to say that gives you 5 ways to help participation with students, for your events and for youth group. But if you are looking for ways to increase your signups for events, specifically camps, check out our video or our episode we did on how to increase signups for your camp. So we'll link that.
I don't remember. And camp's coming up.
There's some good info in there. Make sure you guys check that out. I'll link it in the description below. So yes, it is time for the Fabulous 4 trivia game. Yay!
It's time for some fun. Let's play the Fabulous 4 trivia game. Yay!
All right, Jeff, it is time for the Fabulous 4. This is your cup of tea, so you better get them right. Jeff and his family speak in Seinfeld, and I don't know Seinfeld very well, so I never know what they're talking about on Thanksgiving and the week leading up to Thanksgiving. So if you're a Seinfeld fan, play along. If you're like me, try your best. All right, Jeff. Dun, dun, dun. Which of the 4 main Seinfeld characters was not in the show's first episode?
Kramer?
We're sorry.
Wait, then Elaine.
Yeah, but you're still wrong because you never let me guess twice. So,
you guess twice like all the time.
Yeah, but you don't count it.
I don't know how official these countings really are.
Well, you're officially wrong for number 1. All right. Stumped him right out of the gate.
I remember that now.
I'm pretty proud of myself because I thought he would know all of these.
Moving on, number 2. All right. Rusty.
The costume designers for Seinfeld purposely made the clothes for one character one size too small in order to make them seem uncool. Which character is this?
That would be Kramer.
You would think so. It's actually George.
Really?
But Kramer's pants are always really short.
And his shirts, too.
So I would think it'd be him.
I think that's a biased, wrong question. We're not going to count that one.
All right. Well, you're wrong. The name of George's 2 horses at his fictional home in the Hampton. Oh, sorry.
Strike that. Reverse it.
Here we go. And a 1 and a 2. Name George's 2 horses at his fictional home in the Hamptons.
Snoopy and Prickly Pete.
Very good. Do you want to know? I worked
I don't
about 26 hours this weekend, and I'm really tired. I am malfunctioning. I know you'll know this one. In the Seinfeld episode, quote, The Wife, Jerry and his girlfriend Meryl pose as a married couple so that Meryl can receive a 25% discount on what service?
Dry cleaning.
Very good. You got half of them right. Although I kind of go with you. I think Kramer's cool though. Like, I don't feel like George's clothes are too small. Like,
yeah, I've never noticed his clothes small, but whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to research that one. But
if that's true, it's true. The internet is never wrong.
How do you know I got these on the internet? Maybe I watched all the episodes in preparation for this quiz.
I don't think so.
Okay.
All right, let's do a community comment of the day. This comes from Psalm Lab, and he says, God bless you.
What's his name?
Well, his channel's name is Psalm Lab.
Psalm,
like the Psalms. Psalm Lab.
Yeah.
Psalm Lab. God bless you both. This was so helpful. After about 10 years of not being in active young adults ministry, I am now 35 and single and about to step into it. And honestly, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't concerned I can do it.
You can do it.
You can do it. I'm excited and ready for God's plan, but this definitely comforted my soul. Thank you so much. Please pray for me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please pray for me. Sorry I butchered everything. Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Yay, Psalm Boy.
And you Psalm Lab. You can do it. You've got this.
Psalm Lab. Yes, we believe in you. You know, God equips the called. That's what he does. He doesn't you don't always feel confident. I led basically an entire construction site this weekend, and I was
no idea what I was doing.
I don't know. I just prayed through it, and we built stuff, and I was like, holy cow, God did great things. So you know what I learned? If you're willing and you're obedient and you're just like, God, come fill in the gaps, you know, sometimes he just comes and does the power through you, and you're like, great, thank you so much.
And students are usually pretty forgiving, so you've got that going for you too.
Well, those are young adults.
Ooh, then you've got some hard work. No, they are too. Give them a place to hang out, and they'll love you forever. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.
Increase your participation in events and youth group, no matter what for your events and youth group, no matter what size of group you have. 5 tips to help you increase your participation.
And I don't know. That doesn't even make sense.
But what is wrong with me?